As Ohio State returns to action, the expectations for Julian Sayin couldn't be higher.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. During today's show, my guy, Jeff Hunt, is back with us once again. Jeff mentioned, I think a couple weeks ago, that he kind of likes doing the midweek, maybe a Thursday show instead of the show before game day. Not saying he doesn't like the Friday shows, but get a little different vibe and feel from Jeff today because we're kind of in the final stretch of our preparation for Ohio State's final 5 games of the regular season. And I've already kind of touched on some stuff that I want to see from the team as far as turning it up a little bit and being more intense and flipping that switch, going from third gear to fourth gear. But, Jeff, when it comes to Julian Sayin being QB1, a guy who can legitimately win the Heisman Trophy this year, I think they need to continue to allow him to dive deeper into the playbook, put more on his plate, treat him like a real quarterback. Take all the training wheels off. Don't try to hold him back. Just let him play quarterback the way that he had played his entire life and let him do what he wants to with this offense and make it his. Basically, that's it, Jeff. Let Julian Sayin make this offense his, call all the audibles, and let him be fast and free and let him play ball.
Yeah, they got to let him use the instincts that have obviously got him to this point, obviously got him to be one of the top recruited quarterbacks, of the last 10 years and all these things. And what's important about letting him make the decisions is, I know we all perceive, which is crazy. You said something about November, like Jim Tressel always stressed how important November was for a football team. Now, what that stemmed from, which is ironic now, is that stemmed from him coaching Youngstown State, who had a playoff. And so Jim Tressel came up with, he understood later in the season and how important November was. Here we go. Fast forward 25 years. We have a bigger schedule now. We have a more traditional playoff. And now that November push, it is so important. So Tressel knew what was up then, and it translates now. And that's the thing. You have to get Sayin. You have to get his brain ready. He can't have a crutch on the sideline. He can't be worried. And not saying he's played like this, but this is a huge flaw that sometimes quarterbacks are overcoached. We've talked about that a lot. He has to learn how to play. If we're going to perceive at least 3 of these games perceived as walkthroughs, everybody knows that Jeff does not see the world that way, but perceived as these walkthroughs and these scrimmages, that's when Sayin has to be like, all right, here's the pass patterns. You need to go through 1, 2, 3 and make the throw, because what happens is if you get these quarterbacks in a situation to where it's one read and go, that's when they get defeated in the playoffs, because defenses have time to look, defenses have time to concentrate, great coaches all around. So this is when Sayin needs to, exactly what you said. You need to be the quarterback. You need to make this your team. You need to throw what's comfortable to you. You need to figure out, especially the guys on the field, the roster. Just like we saw with Will Howard last year, the most famous play when they win the national championship or sealed the national championship. He sees inside leverage. JJ can beat this. The game's over, national championship. Sayin just needs to get that feel for his players, and he has been developing it. I think he did some important things with Ennis over the last couple games, and obviously JJ. That's easy to have a feel for him. Put the ball in the air. Him and Tate really developing a rapport that I think. So he's done a great job. But just like you said, let this be his. To stand back and be like, I don't know if anybody ever here has ever watched Days of Thunder like I have, but there's a scene in it when Cole is going around the track and he's a young, up and coming racer. And he says, I need to come in. And Harry says, you can't right now. And he's like, what? And he's like, we're eating ice cream. That's what Ryan Day needs to do. It needs to get into a situation where Sayin is panicking. He's thinking things are going crazy. The bullets are flying, and Dave's like, we're eating ice cream right now, man. You got to figure this out. And he will, and I'm sure he will. And that's what quarterbacks want to do. He seems like a dude that wants to do that. So it's going to be fun to take this ride with him. November's awesome this year. There's 5 games in November, Jay. That's crazy. There's 5 games in a month. This is going to be wild. The team that we have seen to this point of the season is going to be a completely, and I mean that, different team by the time we hopefully hit the playoffs.
There's one thing that I think that Sayin can do in the next 5 games before getting to the Big Ten title that he isn't known for, but I believe it's a part of his game that can help him go to another level, which is use his legs. You have been very vocal about in the RPO game, there really is no run threat outside of the running back. It's, pull the ball, throw, or give it to the running back. When Sayin, I believe, can make that a triple option, a triple threat, where hand it to the running back, throw it to whoever the receiver is, or keep it and run. And I think that part of his game, because he's already been very, very smart and he has great instincts, I'm not asking him to run for 40 yards, bro. Give me 5. Give me 6. Give me some positive yardage where we can keep moving the ball down the field, staying ahead of the sticks. And I think for him, we see it a little bit. His movement in the pocket, behind the line of scrimmage, is beautiful. The way he is able to, I won't say majestically, that sounds a little weird to say, but the way that he is able to seamlessly, that's the word, that's a little bit more, seamlessly move around in the pocket behind the line of scrimmage is great to see. But I think if you think about this weekend's game against Penn State, who I am on the record of saying Penn State is not a team lacking talent. They're lacking confidence. And let's just say they get a little bit more confident when they walk into Ohio Stadium on Saturday, but then they're not prepared for Julian Sayin's legs to torch them. Hey, you see, I'm going to fake this handoff. Okay, boom. On this play, he only pulls the ball and throws to JJ. All of a sudden, he pulls the ball, goes around for 6 yards. We're like, we weren't ready for that. Well, I think this week that could be a wrinkle where you pull that out, and the next thing you know, maybe you don't use it again until Michigan. Well, Michigan's not expecting it. They want to tear the head off Bo Jackson, tear the head off Donaldson. Well, when they go and take the handoff, man, next thing you know, you go around for 5 or 6 yards. That's a wrinkle they might not be ready for. And I think Sayin is capable of getting the ball, moving the ball with his legs repeatedly over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many yards to be gained when you have receivers like Ohio State does.
Yes.
We talk about endlessly. We talk about Ohio State receivers, but that's another, like, not only do they make things easier on everybody on the field, but man, there's where you can steal some yards as a quarterback. I mean, we saw a little bit of that, against Washington, a little bit of that against Illinois. And what's crazy about Sayin is, like, when he outside of the pocket, he still plays so well. And I think there's a whole offense that can be developed around that. This is, again, the debate. This is the biggest debate that Ohio State fans are having right now. And I have this every day with Ohio State fans. There's 2 sides of it. Whether we think Ohio State can flip a switch and then all of a sudden they open up this offense that uses every player and uses the tight ends and all this and is unstoppable, or I'm more on the side of, like, I don't know if a team can flip a switch at the last second. And so I think there's a whole offense to be had out there with Sayin and his feet and outside of the pocket. But I need to see it. We talked earlier in the week about some things I want to see in November. That's it. I need to see this. Like, Sayin fakes it, gets outside. Now you got your tight ends involved. You got all these drags, get all these things. And what have we talked about? The biggest flaw in Ohio State's offense is that the other team's linebackers seem to know the play as soon as Ohio State does. We've got to get rid of that. How do you do that? You move your quarterback, tight ends show block and then go out into a route, and they've got all this. I know there's a tight end offense in there, and I know that they're waiting. I know what game they're waiting for, and I know what they're planning. But, like, at some point, like, you just got to practice this stuff in real time. And against Penn State has to be it, because you said it. The athletes are there. Penn State's roster isn't different than the roster that was, this was a pick'em game at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
And for some reason, it's like 20 points now. That's ludicrous. Penn State's, unless you think Drew Aller is, the next Peyton Manning, the difference in that team. Like, I don't know if anybody is old enough to remember all these Penn State games that I've seen, these backup quarterbacks take it to Ohio State. It happened. So this is the time to, like, we need to open up this offense. And if they don't, I'll have serious concerns. I know you don't want to have this conversation today. Serious concerns about the offensive coordinator if for some reason they can't solve the puzzle this weekend.
Jeff, you won't be the only person having those serious concerns about the OC if they don't start to open it up. But we got to save that for another day. Yeah. Because if you guys think that Jeff and I have some high expectations for Julian Sayin, wait till you hear what we have to say about the tight end room and the running back room when the Buckeyes take the field on Saturday. This episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Once again, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you all for tapping and Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Still to come is more conversations about what we want to see from Ohio State down the final 5 games of the regular season, because there's a deeper conversation than what we just had. We hit on Julian Sayin and the kind of quarterback we think he can be down the stretch. You mentioned the tight end room, Jeff, and I want to piggyback off of that because I do think the tight end room can be a bigger piece of the offense, and I think it should have been a bigger piece of the offense before the Penn State game. I have my own issues with that. Haven't really touched on them yet, but I think Max Klare can take some of what I see Tyler Warren does with the Colts every single weekend, where I'm not asking Max Klare to run routes like Jeremiah Smith or to run a route like Brandon Ennis. No, you said it so well earlier. Fake a block and then go out for a route. I see Tyler Warren do that every single Sunday. The defense isn't ready for it. He catches a ball. He is quick enough and smart enough to turn that 5-yard catch into a 12 to 15-yard gain. And you're thinking, what did he do that was so sneaky? He simply faked the block, hit the hit the defensive end or hit the linebacker, paused them for a couple of seconds, slipped out to the flat, caught the ball. Now, Max Klare is a different type of tight end. He can run all the routes, but that's a simple wrinkle that opposing defense won't be ready for.
No, I think Warren's a great comparison, and I just keep seeing it game after game. The guy, all the tight end room is really good, but Klare is obviously going to, he's the number one receiver. But you're exactly right. Like the potential is there, and I keep saying, like, I don't want to get to the end of this year and say, wow, how did we waste the tight ends like we did? But you're right. And what do defenses hate? Like, again, when you have the wide receiving core that Ohio State does, you have to be in a, what we're going to call, it's a base defense, but we'll call it a nickel defense for, lack of a better term. You have to have all the defensive backs out there. What do they hate the most? Tight ends. You watch it up and down the NFL. You watch it up and down college football. The biggest mismatch on the field right now is the tight end position, because that team has to commit a player. They got to say, hey, we're going to leave a thumper out there, on the field and go with, 3 or 4 linebackers, or they have to be like, no, we're going, we're going, 3-2-5 or, whatever, or 3-2-6, whatever. And then now we've got a guy out there running around that nobody can guard. And, Penn State did it great last year with Warren. Michigan's done it great over the years with the tight ends. It's not, you just said it's not that complicated. You got a big, tall dude that can run routes. Flip him the ball. And the other team hates that. They don't want to tackle it. The safeties don't want to come up and play it. And then guess who's behind them if somebody makes a mistake? 2 of the best receivers in college football. Like, that's the difference. Like, Penn State last year didn't have that. And let's be honest, could you imagine Penn State last year with a Egbuka or a Smith?
Oh, man.
Or like what that would have been with Warren? We have that. Like, it's available. And I know everybody keeps, we just need to see it. Like I need, but and I think it is there. I did love some of the red zone stuff they did versus Washington. And so I know the potential is there, what we can do with the tight ends, how creative we can get with them. They're good run blockers. The running game's a whole different conversation than we're having about Julian Sayin right now. But to me, the ship has sailed. We're a passing team with running backs. So I don't know that we need to keep beating our head against the wall and fight this thing. Like we get receiver, number one recruits. We get these quarterback number one recruits. Like, let's do this. There's a reason that Klare's there. Like he came there to win and catch balls. Like, let's do that. Like, let's let him do it. I need, you know what? You're right. Against Penn State, I want to see Klare have 8 catches, over 100 yards, and a touchdown. That would be my like goal for the weekend as I'm sitting there cozy on the sideline watching the game.
Lucky you. You'll be there this weekend. I'll be there the following weekend. You'll be in Columbus. I'll be in West Lafayette. Just trying to enjoy ball, man. Enjoy Buckeye football. Jeff, that's one thing that – okay, flipping the switch. I was trying to delay this, but it kind of got under my skin because you said something about flipping a switch and can they do it, can they not? And I had a flashback to LeBron James, who I can't – I'll say that for I'll say that for another show. But Jeff, when it came to LeBron, everyone knew that when he had this 0 dark 30 getting on social media, he flipped a switch and it was lights out. You couldn't stop him. He was a different animal. I think back to 2013, Bron was the best Bron anybody's ever seen. But you knew that when he got to the playoffs and he did 0 dark 30, he flipped the switch. But it was a switch that eventually 2013, 2014, 2015, you knew he could do that because he has done it before. And all of a sudden, it's an expectation. When LeBron does his thing to go off social media, a switch is flipped, and you've seen it before, and you know it can happen. My issue with this team this year is you don't know if they can do what last year's team did as far as almost like sleepwalking. Not really sleepwalking, but kind of just getting by in the regular season. Get to the playoff, bam, you flip a switch, go up tempo, throwing deep passes. It's like, why wasn't this happening in the regular season when Jay and Jeff are on this show saying, do it. We think you can do it. And they did it, but they just flipped the switch. My issue this year is nobody knows if they can flip a switch on offense. Nobody. The slow pace is put me to sleep at times during games, man. I'm trying to put these notes down and I'm about to start snoring and stuff because it's putting us to sleep. That's how slow it is. Nobody knows if they can go for 3.5 quarters, up tempo, be efficient, remove the penalties, and do the things that you need to do with the offense. And that it should be concerning for Ohio State fans. It's concerning for me because I think they should be able to. But Jeff, I don't know if they have another gear.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. The creativity is not there. When you look at the stats, like we all know how good Ohio State is, and everybody, even the talking heads, everybody agrees Ohio State's number 1 team. Blah 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 blah. But when you just if you put yourself in a vacuum and just look at the especially the Big Ten stats, they don't really. I mean, defense, points scored, they really stand out. But so does Indiana. Rushing, they're below the middle of the pack.
Yep.
Not a great rushing game. Passing, they're obviously, towards the top, but they're still below Indiana, So we there's not one thing you can point to and be like, yeah, but they're so good at this or they're so good at that. And then, like you said, the pace of play, I don't know why we're allowing the other team to breathe like we are. It's one of those things like, I don't know if anybody saw, like everybody that watched, like Nick Saban was talking about it over the weekend, the great Nick Saban. And I love Nick Saban because he doesn't know it, but he agrees with Jeff a lot. And he was talking about, he literally said out loud, the reason they shifted from a running attack to a passing attack. And we're talking one of the great defensive minds in the history of football, because passing, it's harder to defend. He even said, you may give up a few more points, but you also score more points. And that's why we went from running to the great Nick Saban admits that you have to evolve and do, take what's out there for you. And so Ohio State's going backwards. And I don't know. None of us know the reason for this. It's the hot topic of cross Buckeye Nation of like, what's we see. I think what we all see, we all know what we're seeing here. I don't know, like it's not November yet. I don't know if we're ready to talk about what we see, but I think we all see the possibility of what's coming, because I think it reminds us so much of 2019 with that team and what we wasted and all these things. And so I think we're all a little trepidatious, and I think that's okay. We haven't been physically dominant over decent teams. I mean, but the defense has. It's so skewed by how good the defense has been that are we sure that the offense is national championship worthy? And they keep talking about this switch. I'm like, the quarterbacks. I saw Will Howard flip the switch before he got to Ohio State. Like I saw him beat TCU in that Big 12 championship game. I saw what he could do. Like Sayin hasn't been there yet. Like he doesn't know what it looks like. We know Smith can, like that's obvious, but the running back room has not been there yet. The play callers for that matter have not been through this yet. So this imaginary thing that we think we can just turn it on, like I need to see it. Like just show it to me for 5 minutes, and I'll be like, all right, you give me a 2-minute scoring drive that Penn State, can't wrap their head around, and I will shut up about it.
Jeff, the running backs you just talked about and just the way the offense is moving leads us into our final topic about the potential move in the running back room leading into the game against Penn State and the rest of the regular season. We'll tackle that after the break. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same attention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Jeff, as you close out this show, I have been saving this for a while, but we both kind of shared our thoughts, before getting into a deeper conversations about the running backs at Ohio State. It's clear Bo Jackson is the number one back in the room. Donaldson is probably the clear-cut number 2 based off his body, his frame, his experience at West Virginia, and his style of running that complements Bo Jackson pretty well. Running back 3 and running back 4, maybe a little bit shaky, a little bit cloudy around those two spots. Isaiah West looks like the better back, but he is younger than James Peoples. I think Peoples is still trying to figure out how to run behind this offensive line at this speed that you have to play at in high-level college football. I think there needs to be a shifting and just lean on Bo Jackson, similar to how the offense needs to lean on Julian Sayin. And I don't think they should just ditch the running game. I don't think you can win a national championship with an average running game at all. And I think if you want to lean on the pass, that's fine. But you also have to have a competent and better than average running game. They don't have it right now. I think they can do it, but they got to stop trying to just experiment with these running backs. Let these guys go out there and run the ball.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We talked about it before last show, and we didn't get a chance to get to it. But the whole thing about like, it's just like, you talk about a boxer or any other athlete that like physical athlete, running backs need to get out there. They need to get reps. The shifting in and out and the trying to drop a guy in, he doesn't have a feel for the game. Like, let him get out there, let him get beat up. These guys all came up through high school programs to where they were the workhorse. They got the ball 20 times a game. They probably ran for 500 yards a game. Yeah. Like that's what they need to do. And then just as soon as they start, you start getting a feel for this, you start getting a feel for how to get hit, where to get hit, all these things. Then you switch them out again. And I know it's, again, everybody thinks like, oh, well, they'll be fresh for the playoffs. Well, you got to get to the playoffs.
Correct.
Like honestly, like I think if you took any of these running backs and just said, okay, you're going to be the dude today, you're going to go out there and get it, they would actually get better as the game went on. And like, we saw Urban Meyer was so good at this. Like, boy, you want to talk about somebody who knew how to get a game out of a running back. And I'm not even saying that what Day and Hartline are doing is wrong, so to speak, but I sort of am. And it's just because I don't think the guys get a feel for the game. I think when I say looking over the shoulder, I don't mean they're worried about who's coming in. I mean, they're literally just like, am I going to be in the next play? Wes showed some serious explosion when he got in. Great potential. Jackson definitely feels like the starter, but also that's a freshman running back. He's not a freshman freak though. We're not talking about Marcus Allen. We're not talking about the other Bo Jackson. We're talking about a talented running back, but he's not ready to take over, like one of those guys. And so Donaldson's a guy you can probably lean on. And I think he's going to, out of these 5 games in November, Donaldson's going to have a very important game. I don't know when it's going to be. I haven't looked at the almanac, but like there's going to be a game to where CJ Donaldson is absolutely the most important player on the field. But you still have to establish something. And then again, it's all like, it's such predictable runs and it's a lot of the side to side stuff. And they just do not have an identity of what they want to do in the running game. And I don't know if it's Hartline, running game coordinator. I don't know who the flaw is, but we can all see it. I don't care what the stats look like. We can all see it. We're not getting chunks. We're not getting the breakaway runs, that we did with, Judkins last year, Henderson last year. So that's something they need to establish this weekend too, versus Penn State. Like it's time to be like, again, I think we all think if they'd speed up a little bit and get these guys moving, like they got plenty of energy. They're fresh. You kept them fresh for half a season, Ryan Day. Let's turn them loose. And again, let's go out there and have some fun and wear down the other team.
My dad and I talk about this all the time, talking about the youth, and we watch a lot of high school sports, football and basketball. And so we're at games and we look at the schedule and look at the tournament schedule and think, oh, okay, like you got 2 games in one day, or you got a game on a Friday night, then the next game is on a Saturday afternoon, thinking like that's a lot. But my dad and I always say, these guys are 15 to 18 years old. They'll be fine. Yes. They'll be just fine. They'll go play the game on a Friday. They might eat something bad after the game, get some sleep, wake up the next day, go play another game. They'll be just fine. And then I think in college, sometimes you try to baby and coddle kids. They're 18 to 22 years old. They're going to be just fine.
Yep.
Now, I also realize many of you know that Jeff just mentioned Nick Saban, and Nick Saban tried to squeeze that orange all the way, get all that juice out, because Saban was like, while you're here, we going to win a lot. We're going to try to get you multiple rings. But what did Saban do? He knew they were 18 to 22 years old.
Yep.
He tried to squeeze that juice. I don't understand why it seems like Ohio State is trying to preserve these guys and, let's slow roll. But I get the longer season. Look, I guarantee if you were to go and look at, say, Ohio, and I don't live in Ohio, so I don't know like the state football tournament, how many games you might play to win the state championship. But if you look at state by state and look and see where certain people are from and figure out, well, to win a state championship, you got to win 15 or 16 games. Why in the world do you get to college and your coach is like, no, we're just going to try to preserve. No, sir, I played 17 games straight to win a title in high school. My body is going to be just fine. Play these guys. Let these guys, and you said it so well, running backs need reps. They need to get hit. They need those dings because that's going to help them get into a flow of the game and get more confident.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if it's Bo Jackson, Donaldson, West, Peoples, doesn't matter. Let them get the ball. Let them cook. And if they can't cook, then you know that guy's not the guy for the day.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly how I feel about it. Yeah, if you want to give them a game in November to be the star, that's fine. If you want to give them a chance to be the star and they fail, that's fine too. But what we've done so far is just like preserving them and mixing them up and all that. Let's be honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not by any means saying I don't care about these young men. Probably a couple of them ain't even going to be there next year. So like you said with Nick Saban, like this is the year. Like I don't know. This isn't the future. this is now. Like, let's figure out who's the best. Let's get them out there. You know, if somebody can't take it or wants to leave, you know, like they shout out to Evan Pryor, having a great, you know, doing a great job down there in Cincinnati. Couldn't be happier for him. But that's the world that we live in. Let's figure out who your dogs are now, and let's get going. Speaking of dogs, yeah, I know you're about to get out of here. I could not get out of here without saying my own RIP to the great Buckeye Nick Mangold. I know it's tough on everybody. I grew up, watched everything that he did, you know, as you know, the championship teams, you know, and everything he did. And I always told everybody, if you want to know what a Buckeye is, it's Nick Mangold. So, you know, thoughts to his family and everybody, but great Buckeye.
Thoughts and prayers to his family. That was tough. I hate to end on a somber note, but well said, Jeff. I never met him. I just hear people say what they encountered when they met him. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him at all. And hate to lose a Buckeye. Especially one of those guys that's young, played in the NFL, really good player.
Just a all around great, just an anchor of a team and a person and all that. So like everything that you would want an Ohio State, you know, player to be was Nick Mangold.
He is Jeff Hunt. He's the host of the Japanese Sports Podcast. Might come out of retirement hosting that show. Not sure, but he's still talking sports all the time. I am Jay Stevens, the host of Locked On Buckeyes. Follow him on Twitter at jhunt006. Follow me on the same platform at jstevens07. Guys, we're up out of here on a Thursday. We're a couple days away from the Buckeyes and Nittany Lions battling it out on the field. We'll talk about it once again tomorrow.